fresh insights into the kingdom of God. Listen to this thought, these words. As I sat talking with my disciples, the dust settled warmly beneath my feet, the Galilean sun bathed me in its familiar embrace. Beside me stood Peter, ever earnest and always reaching for the tangible. He gestured toward the distant hills, his voice thick with anticipation. "Master," he began, "when will the kingdom be established? When will you cast out these Romans and take your rightful place upon the throne in Jerusalem?" I watched the shimmering heat rise from the cracked earth, and a quiet sigh stirred within me, not of weariness, but of a deep, gentle understanding. In that moment, I felt the weight of expectation and the depth of longing that filled the air, a reminder of the dreams we all hold close to our hearts. How can I convey this? How can I help them truly grasp what lies not within stone walls or earthly power, but in the very breath they take in the awareness that sparkles behind their eyes? The kingdom they wish for, this magnificent kingdom, is often envisioned as something external, a distant future, a king seated upon a grand throne, commanding troops. But let me be clear, my throne is not a distant dream, it exists right here, in this very moment. It is rooted in the unshakable peace that rises from the silent depths of our being. This is the peace that understands the sparrow's flight, the lily's bloom, and the very pulse of the universe itself. Embrace this truth, for it is here, in the now, that the true kingdom unfolds. The kingdom of God is not a distant realm, it is not a future promise waiting to be fulfilled. It is here, now, and it resides within each of us. This profound truth, so elegantly simple, often slips through our fingers like grains of sand. In their search for understanding, many grasp at parables, dissecting them into simple literal interpretations, desperately seeking a blueprint for an earthly empire. They are good people, pure of heart, yet their gaze remains fixed outward, always searching beyond themselves. I am reminded of the whispers of the Essenes, those ancient seekers by the shores of the Dead Sea, who spoke of an inner light, a knowledge that surpassed the written word. Long before the scribes codified their teachings and confined their essence to ink and parchment, there existed a hidden wisdom shared in hushed tones. They spoke of the breath that animates all creation, the divine spark that ignites our very existence. This is the kingdom, a state of awakened consciousness, a profound realization that the divine is not found in the external, but within the depths of our own being. When I speak of entering the kingdom, I refer to a deep internal transformation, a radical shift in perception that realigns your entire being. This journey is not about doing more, it's about being more. Being more present. Being more aware. Being more in harmony with the divine reality that underlies all existence. Look at them now, John, thoughtful, almost sensing the truth, yet still searching for a tangible sign. And Thomas, ever the skeptic, yearning for solid proof. Oh, Thomas, the proof lies in the very breath you take, the rhythmic beating of your heart, the quiet hum of life that penetrates everything around you. This elevated state of consciousness dissolves fear, fear of lack, fear of pain, fear of the unknown. When you truly dwell in the kingdom within, you come to realize that your supply is infinite, drawn from the boundless wellspring of creation itself. You begin to understand that suffering often comes from resistance to what is, a clinging to the past or a longing for the future. Release that resistance. Let go of the clinging. As you do, the burden lightens, and the yoke becomes easy. It's not about avoiding hardship, it's about navigating through it with unwavering composure and a deep-seated knowing that you are never separated from the source. Embrace this truth, and watch as your life transforms. I proclaim to them, the kingdom of God does not come with observable signs. They will not say, "Look here," or "Look there." For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Yet, they continue to scan the horizon, wishing for a trumpet blast, a grand revelation. But the true revelation lies in the silence, in the stillness, in the deep recognition of your own divine spirit. It is the quiet understanding that you are not simply flesh and bone, you are spirit, eternal, boundless, and capable of radiating the very light of creation. This ancient wisdom has been overlooked, perhaps because it requires no temple, no ritual, and no external mediator, only a turning inward. It transcends earthly power structures, for its strength is not derived from man-made laws or institutions. Its power is natural, universal, and accessible to all, regardless of social status or material possessions. The poor in spirit, those who acknowledge their emptiness and remain open to being filled by something greater, are the ones who truly experience this kingdom. Embrace this truth. The kingdom is not a distant dream, it is a living reality waiting to be discovered within you. Envision a world where this profound truth vibrates in every heart. In such a world, judgment, hatred, and war would become relics of the past. When you recognize the kingdom within yourself, you inevitably see it reflected in every other being. The light within you would honor the light in others. Love would no longer be a simple commandment, it would flow naturally and spontaneously from this elevated state of consciousness. This love embodies an intrinsic understanding of our interconnectedness, a recognition that we are all manifestations of the same divine consciousness, the God consciousness. When they inquire about healing, I respond with a single word: faith. But what does faith truly mean? It is not a blind belief in an external deity poised to intervene miraculously. Rather, it is a deep-seated trust in the universe's inherent healing intelligence, a faith in the perfect order that courses through your very being. It is an alignment with the truth that wholeness is your natural state, while illness represents a temporary disharmony, often coming from an imbalance of consciousness and a disconnection from the inner kingdom. To heal is to restore that vital connection, to allow the divine flow to cleanse and renew you. When I speak of being born again, I do not refer to a literal rebirth, rather, I am describing a deep transformation of consciousness, a conscious awakening to one's true inner spirit. It is the process of shedding the constricting layers of ego, fear, and limited perception, and stepping boldly into the expansive awareness of who you truly are, a child of God, an heir to the kingdom, not by simple inheritance, but by the very spirit of your being. The true work lies not in outward evangelizing, but in the inward cultivation of the self. It is about tending to the garden of your own mind, uprooting the choking weeds of doubt and fear, planting vibrant seeds of peace and love, and allowing the radiant sunlight of awareness to nourish their growth. This is the path to liberation, the gateway to authentic freedom. It is not freedom from oppressive regimes, but freedom from the tyranny of the mind, from the shackles of conditioning, and from the illusion of separation. Embrace this journey, for it is the key to unlocking your highest potential. At this very moment, as the sun sinks lower and the air turns crisp, we find ourselves in the kingdom. The fragrant scent of the fields, the distant bleating of sheep, and the gentle murmur of the disciples' voices all weave together to create an image of vibrant, living awareness. This kingdom is not something to be earned or attained through elaborate rituals, it is simply to be recognized and embraced. Like a fish searching for water, many seek the kingdom outside themselves, oblivious to the fact that they are already immersed in it. As my time among them in this physical form draws to a close, I want to emphasize that the message, the essence of the kingdom, will endure. It will vibrate through the ages, whispered in moments of quiet clarity, understood by those who dare to look within. This is not a doctrine to be memorized, it is a state to be experienced. It is the perennial truth, patiently waiting to be rediscovered by each soul in every generation. The kingdom of God is a state of consciousness, and it exists here and now, within you. Always. And so, it is. Here's an expanded perspective. 1. Inner awareness as divine reality. The kingdom of God exists within each individual as a state of heightened awareness, peace, and love. When we cultivate inner consciousness, through meditation, reflection, and mindfulness, we access this divine realm. It's about shifting from external distractions to an inward focus that reveals our true nature. 2. Unity and oneness. Recognizing the kingdom as a state of consciousness emphasizes the interconnectedness of all life. When we are in a state of divine awareness, we see beyond superficial differences and recognize the unity underlying all existence. This inner realization fosters compassion, understanding, and harmony. 3. Transformational perspective. Viewing the kingdom of God as a consciousness shifts the focus from seeking external conditions or material possessions to transforming our inner selves. It's about aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with divine principles such as love, truth, and compassion. 4. Practical implications. If the kingdom is a state of consciousness, then experiencing it is accessible here and now, regardless of external circumstances. It invites us to cultivate virtues and awareness that elevate our perception of reality, making the divine presence a lived experience rather than a distant ideal. 5. Spiritual evolution. This perspective encourages continuous growth, expanding our consciousness to perceive God in all aspects of life. It suggests that enlightenment or spiritual awakening is a process of becoming more aware of our divine, God nature and integrating that awareness into daily living. In the spirit, seeing the kingdom of God as a state of consciousness invites us to realize that God consciousness is not separate from us, but is woven into our very perception and awareness. It's an inner world that can be reached through spiritual practice, mindfulness, and inner reflection, transforming our experience of reality into one of God's presence and love, all day, every day. Peace. Now and always.